Stranger Things has officially ended, and not every fan is super thrilled with the way that it wrapped up. So much so that the series creators, the Duffer Brothers, have had to come out and explain some things, like where all the Demogorgons went in the final episode and the fate of a beloved character. With rumors of a lot of this final season potentially being a warped reality, as well as one more episode potentially coming out this month, what? It is getting absolutely wild. In today's video, I want to discuss some of the Stranger Things theories that have melted my brain like Hawkins' lab. Now let's talk about what's really going on in our favorite little town in Indiana. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're looking for updates on upcoming horror movies or TV shows, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to this page for more updates on the most anticipated horror projects. Also, the best way to support this page is by becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter, where you'll get bonus reviews. Patreon supporters exclusively get to see trailer reactions that aren't so YouTube friendly. Thank you all so much for keeping me in business. Now let's talk some theories. So just before we get into all of this, I just want to put up a big disclaimer, a big spoiler warning. Hey, we're gonna spoil all of season 5 of Stranger Things, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and then come on back. In the finale episode, titled The Right Side Up, we see the combined forces of the party take down Vecna and the Mind Flayer in the Abyss. Callie, or 8, is seemingly shot and killed by the military, and 11 also seems to die as she closes the gate to the Upside Down, so the military can't experiment on her anymore. Despite all of that, in the final scene of the episode, Mike hints at the possibility that Elle survive. He explains that Callie used her power of illusion to fake Elle and her death, so that 11 could escape to her Icelandic sanctuary with 3 waterfalls. The gang, of course, believes this to be true, and Mike probably knows it's true. That final point there has driven the fan base sort of crazy online. We'll get back to that in a sec. I have a few other bones to pick first. First up, the Duffer Brothers have answered the question of why weren't there any Demogorgons helping Vecna in that finale episode with a really interesting response. Speaking with The Wrap, Matt and Ross Duffer explained that since Vecna wasn't expecting a sneak attack in the Abyss from the party, he didn't have his Demogorgon army at the ready there. They also cite demo fatigue as a reason for the creatures being absent from the finale, as they didn't want to overdo it. In all fairness, we did see a ton of these creatures throughout all of Volume 1, if it's kidnapping Holly Wheeler or getting absolutely decimated by Will Byers and his crazy sorcerer powers. I agree with the Duffers here that there may have been too many of these creatures in the final season, and I liked that our last boss fight here solely focused on this kaiju version of the Mind Flayer, with 11 and Vecna having their own battle within. I also think that there would have been a completely different criticism we'd be talking about right now if we saw the party go up against an army of Demogorgons. Will would have just used his powers again and killed all of them. It would have been the same exact scene from episode 4, but repeated again just 4 episodes later, maybe with more Demogorgons, but that doesn't make it anything different or new. The final fight between Demogorgons and the party was episode 4. Another question on the minds of fans is, what the hell is this spin-off series going to be about? The Duffer Brothers have some answers to that as well. Discussing the upcoming series, Matt Duffer explains to THR that the spin-off will focus on the rock in the briefcase that Henry finds in the cave, shedding more light on that cryptic memory. Matt specifically says that it won't necessarily focus on the Upside Down or the Mind Flayer, but will tie up some loose ends from the series in an all-new town. This is a little disappointing in my opinion, because I think I would have loved to have seen some sort of continuation series rather than a prequel series. I think I would rather follow Holly Wheeler and Delightful Derek into the 90s. It would be a 90s nostalgia show, which is super in right now, where our new characters are going up against an entirely new supernatural threat. Maybe that's too complicated of a show to write, especially with having to keep everything that's already happened in the show's history canon, but I feel like you could easily make that into its own thing if you really wanted to. Maybe after spending so much time inside of Henry's memories and the Mind Flayer itself, all of these kids have some powers that they didn't know they could tap into. Maybe that's when the military starts to hunt down these kids once they realize they all have powers. There's more ways to have these supernatural abilities opposed to just having Henry's blood inside of you. I honestly think the main reason why we're not doing this is because a lot of the Stranger Things cast is moving on to other projects. It seems like the Duffers aren't the only ones who are jumping ship right now. I still think this idea could totally work. 90s nostalgia is in, baby, and Fear Street really only scratched the surface. One more big point before we talk about about the controversial ending to this series, many fans online have noted that there are a ton of different plot holes throughout all of Season 5. If it's the fact that in Season 4 we introduced the idea that the Upside Down is this hive mind that the party and Vecna seemingly forgot about in this season, or the fact that the entire group would be considered domestic terrorists after everything that went down in Season 5, yet everything seemingly goes back to normal a year and a half later. It seems to me that the Duffer Brothers have found a workaround to all of this, however, with some ambiguity. Let's break down this somewhat frustrating conclusion. Mike explains during the elongated denouement of the final episode that he believes that Elle is still alive, hiding out somewhere with 3 beautiful waterfalls away from the government. And let's be real here, he's likely telling the truth. Even though the Duffer Brothers have said that they and Millie Bobby Brown are the only 2 people who know the true answer, and also, mind you, told Millie Bobby Brown never to tell Noah Schnapp, I think we can pretty much figure it out from the last episode that, yeah, Elle survived that and it was a bunch of hocus pocus. Eagle-eyed fans have pointed out that a lot of the last episode has to be an illusion, or there's a bunch of weird inconsistencies. This mostly stems from the moment that Callie gets shot at Hawkins' lab, the first big detail being that Eleven isn't covered in blood as she leaves the room. Then, when the military catches up to them as they're leaving the Upside Down, the sonic blasters that we've seen them use on Eleven before don't really seem to work on her here. Eleven also seems to magically teleport back inside the Upside Down, where she closes the gate and dies on the other side under the weight of the collapsing dimension. In a very poignant shot, she also does not have the 11 tattoo on her arm. I could list out some more details too, but I think you guys get the point. There's no way 11 actually sacrificed herself based on what we got in this ending. It's not just this final episode, however, there are so many inconsistencies with this season that go against what we've learned in the show previously. So much so that fans online believe that a lot of this season has been an illusion by Callie's doing. There are even some rumors online saying that another episode is going to drop this Wednesday called Conformity Gates. I don't think that's anything even remotely true, sadly. Personally, I think this entire season was designed to go against what we learned in the show previously in order to have this ambiguous ending. The goal here, I believe, was for fans to have it whatever way they wanted. Elle could sacrifice herself, or Elle could still be alive somewhere far away. And that's just scratching the surface of it. You can decide how you kind of want this ending to really go based on what you choose to believe is an illusion or not. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while now, you probably know that some of my favorite horror movies of all time end ambiguously sort of like this. A great example of this is John Carpenter's The Thing, one of my all-time favorite horror movies. The 80s flick ends with the question of, is Childs the Thing? And will the remaining 2 get rescued or freeze to death outside? The difference between Stranger Things Season 5 and The Thing, however, is that the ambiguity serves completely different purposes. In The Thing, this ending serves the paranoid terror that has been palpable for the entire film. It leaves you in the midst of the mystery, never getting a clear answer in a situation that has been made even more bleak. Did the Thing win and is now able to freeze in the ice again for someone else to find, or did MacReady actually blow it up? Either situation is super terrifying. On one hand, you're either freezing to death and being completely forgotten about, or the Thing still has a chance to take over the entire planet. And you're also still gonna freeze to death and die. Oh my god. Poor MacReady, and maybe I feel bad for Childs, as long as he's not the Thing. The main point I'm trying to get across here is the ambiguous ending of The Thing is keeping things consistent and only adding to the paranoid terror that came before it in the film itself. With Stranger Things Season 5, this ambiguous ending literally is just here so that every single fan could potentially be happy with it. There's not really multiple layers to this show's conclusion like The Thing. It merely exists to make both camps of Stranger Things fans happy. You can believe what you want, I guess, but there are so many clues that serve only one of these directions. Where, again, if we're going back to The Thing, those clues that serve either direction are a lot more subtle. Not only does this defeat your ambiguous ending, especially by showing a clip of Eleven alive at the 3 waterfalls, oh my god, but it also makes neither side of the fan base happy because you just spent so much time on that denouement rather than telling a satisfying story. The Duffers chose to focus this entire season on warped reality though, even making A Wrinkle in Time a reference centerpiece in order to make this point throughout. The intention of this conclusion is what really just kills it for me. It's really just there to cover up some plot holes, say, well, that didn't actually happen if you look at it this way, or to give fans either the triumphant or tragic ending that they're looking for. That just feels very corporate, very directionless, and completely lacks focus. I really hope that's not too harsh for me to say. I didn't hate season 5, I just hated this ending. Whether you like it or not, The Thing is trying to create paranoia and claustrophobic dread, which stays consistent throughout, while Stranger Things is just trying to satisfy anyone who's watching it with underwhelming results. Not everybody likes claustrophobic dread. In fact, I don't think the majority of people do. Therefore, there's probably a lot of people who don't like The Thing, but that's okay. The people who do like it, love it. Stranger Things, however, is trying to cater to literally everybody watching it by essentially giving you multiple endings. I do want to make the point that even though, yes, I lean towards I would have liked them to actually put some stakes into this season and sacrifice somebody, and I would have much rather preferred them to take that direction, but more than anything, I feel like the thing that ruined season 5 for me is the fact that they did not pick a direction. They try to keep it open-ended to every single angle that you could possibly throw at this thing, which I just don't love. Make it triumphant or make it tragic, just pick a lane. I really did not hate season 5 of Stranger Things, but wow, this ending is frustrating. It feels very forced to me, and like the Duffers just did this so that no one would be mad at them. The sad reality of making art or having a personality in general is that some people aren't gonna like it. Some people are watching this video right now or have already clicked off because they don't agree with a single word that I'm saying. This is my take on season 5 of Stranger Things, and I'm not gonna end this video by saying, well, actually I don't believe anything that I just said, because that would totally render it pointless. Like having a big sacrifice scene for 11 and then having a scene followed up by Mike saying, oh no, actually that never happened, because then it would render the whole sacrifice scene as pointless. See how that works? If you try to make everyone happy, you make no one happy. What do you guys think though? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.